Welcome to the Pressroom End of Year Showcase. I'm Sophie Jensen.
And I'm Cadence Mitchell. Today we are taking you to the stories that defined these last 16 weeks, featuring stories that aired on ABC4, KVNU, Utah Public Radio, and in the Herald Journal.
As part of Utah State University's Pressroom, students show you stories across the Beehive State. A new bill may change the way students are involved in their college education. Alicia Archibald shows us what students, educators, and politicians think about it.
In this institute class at Utah State University, students learn about religion. And in a class of their choice, they learn from a teacher who shares their beliefs. But in other college classes, that's not always the case.
Students should be able to have basically full choice over what their education looks like.
That's where House Bill 204 comes in. Sponsored by Representative Mike Peterson, this bill states that any course in higher education must accommodate a student's absence from an academic requirement that violates the student's religious or conscious belief.
It's not about listening to things, it's about being coerced into having to do things.
Representative Mike Peterson says these issues happen all across the country, including for his daughter, who inspired the bill.
She called me one afternoon and said, "Dad, I'm supposed to write a letter advocating for LGBTQ policies." That's compelled speech.
Some politicians and educators are against the bill.
A university degree is a lot more than just job training. It teaches you and gives you the ability to know a lot more about many things.
People against the bill fear that it would interfere with classes like this. This religion class at USU teaches students about cultures different from their own.
Beliefs are important, but the mission of higher ed is to expose our students to the best available knowledge.
Objectionable actually decreases the viewpoint diversity and actually doesn't expose students to these challenging views.
But Representative Peterson says that his bill will not prevent students from hearing another point of view.
We want professors to continue, but again, they ought to consider the perspective of their students sometimes.
Alicia Archibald.
HB 204 is now signed into law. It will go into effect this upcoming school year.
Here we have Sarah Simmons with us, and she took a look into the small Jewish community that we have here in Cache Valley.
Yes, so when I started talking to this one girl who's a Jewish member, she told me about the struggles she's been facing here. This is Anna Lieberman. Growing up Jewish, she moved to Cache Valley in 2024 to go to school, where she realized she was one of a minority. According to a 2020 census report done by a nonprofit research organization, nearly 0% of Cache Valley residents are Jewish, compared to 64% that are Latter-day Saints. This is my first publication, and it was in the Herald Journal.
Congrats, Sarah. That's amazing.
Thank you.
More than 1,000 protesters in Cache Valley joined cities across the globe for the third official No Kings protest, a movement inspired by rising concerns over the current U.S. administration. Essence Barnes reported on the protest, and she's here with me today. What did you notice that residents were most concerned about?
Yes, Sophie, I covered the third No Kings protest in Cache Valley, and it was shocking to see just how much the lawn of the Cache Valley Historic Courthouse began to fill up as protesters came swarming in. Protesters of all ages wore signs and held costumes, highlighting their issues with the current administration, ranging from issues over ICE encroachment to the war in Iran. I felt the crowd's passion and unity as they sang and marched, and the protest remained hopeful and peaceful throughout.
Thanks, Essence.
There's a long-standing tradition at Utah State University celebrating Black history dating back to the 70s. I'm Avonlea Woodward, and I'll show you what that celebration looked like in 2026 and before.
Song and celebration.
Music captures emotions, creativity, and story.
This is how Utah State University celebrates Black History Month.
Food is a way of how people have adapted, how they've built community.
Food and presentations on the Black Student Union, all to show a tradition that began more than 50 years ago.
Utah State University has celebrated Black history since at least 1971 when they had their Black Emphasis Week.
And footage now preserved here in the University Archives show how that legacy continues through today's Black History Month events.
This footage is from March to April in 1971, where Utah State students celebrate what they called the Black experience in America through campus speeches, even clothing.
They've continued to build on the foundation.
This year's theme, A Night in Harlem, highlights the Harlem Renaissance, a time that event coordinator Shelley Ortiz says shaped the Great Migration when more than 6 million Black African Americans moved from the southern United States to the North, Midwest, and West.
We're able to create spaces for community engagement and foster creativity, which then resulted in the growth and an outpouring of art, literature, education.
Because of the celebration, I am able to learn about so much.
Students say the celebration gives them a chance to reflect.
To me, Black History Month is a time to celebrate the resilience and the creativity of the African American community that we have.
I'm Avonlea Woodward.
For nearly 20 years, Tom and Carrie have been the consistent voices for Utah Public Radio. Now they're preparing to step into retirement. I'm Hannah Webb, and I got to sit down and talk to Tom and Carrie about their passions about sharing the community's stories.
Welcome to Access Utah. Welcome to Behind the Headlines, the weekly news roundup from Utah Public Radio and the Salt Lake Tribune. I'm Tom Williams.
And heard weekday mornings on Utah Public Radio. And with UPR News, I'm Carrie Bringhurst.
Well, for me, it's bittersweet, right? It's I'm looking forward to some other opportunities to pursue, but I love it. I love UPR. You know, kind of hard to say goodbye.
It's been such a part of my life to be in radio and then to have that not be something I'm doing. It's huge. I'm going through a bit of an identity crisis just thinking about it.
Utah Public Radio is still searching for its new station manager. Meanwhile, the station's newly hired news director is set to begin in May. In the meantime, listeners can still tune in to Behind the Headlines and Access Utah to listen to Tom.
A major snowstorm brought some much-needed relief to Utah after one of the warmest and driest winter seasons on record. Carson Frost, you spoke with one climatologist about what this means for Utah.
Yes, thanks, Sophie. And even experts are saying that water levels are far behind, so this summer, conservation efforts will be key. A spokesman with the state says months of dry weather has created a deep deficit, and one storm isn't enough to make up the difference. With limited time left in the season, he warned the state needs consistent storms and continued conservation to keep water supplies stable.
Thanks, Carson.
Thank you.
A Utah State University researcher is taking a closer look at successful communication with autistic and neurotypical teens. Take a look at what she's finding.
Communication, for some, is easier than for others.
Talking face-to-face is definitely harder with people I don't know very well.
For Ollie, a teen with autism, success in a conversation isn't about following social rules. It's about connecting.
I just don't really think about conversation as successful. Just like I had a fun talk with someone.
Her mom says understanding that difference can change everything.
She's a really smart, savvy kid, but just navigates the world differently.
That's where Utah State researcher Camille Wynn steps in. She studies how teens adjust the way they speak during conversation and why those moments can feel so different for autistic and neurotypical teens.
I'm really interested in understanding what makes conversation meaningful and successful, especially for teenagers.
Wynn studies real conversations, measuring tiny shifts in pitch, speed, and wording to see how teens align with each other.
It's the idea that we modify our speech to match the speech of our conversational partner.
Research shows people who align more in conversation are often seen as more likable and easier to talk to.
What I really hope is that we can understand what those differences are and that we can use that information to help mixed neurotypes, so a non-autistic and an autistic person, have better conversations with each other.
Ollie's not part of the research, but her experience mirror what researchers are seeing.
She will tell you what she needs and wants and feels, and it'll be really well thought out and really explicit. She just needs a safe environment and the time to do so.
In Logan, I'm Avonlea Woodward.
Students have been able to cover breaking news during this semester. Sarah Mitchell reported on breaking news at the roundabout at Old Main. The story was published by the Herald Journal as a newspaper piece and KVNU as a radio piece. Sarah Mitchell explains her process, which led to a new collaboration to Utah State University.
Yes, thanks, Hannah. I was actually walking in my car one day when I saw multiple emergency crews. In this video, you can see an ambulance and police were there. I learned that a student was hit when crossing the road at the roundabout. I interviewed Chief Jeff Simmons, who says students need to be more careful now that the weather is warming up.
You have to look both ways, and not just once, but twice.
This was my first breaking news coverage, and I only had an hour to put it all together. It was a really rewarding experience, not only to report on an important issue in our community, but through my coverage, we opened up a new partnership with KVNU and Utah State.
That is so cool, Sarah.
What if your next outfit already lived a life? Olivia Hatfield takes you to King's Finest Vintage to show you how these college students are hooked.
I'm lucky I get to own it and just benefit from the energy that vintage brings.
Olivia Hatfield says she learned it's about the story behind the clothing. Each dress, vest, and jacket has a history, and buyers become a part of it. Thanks, Olivia.
Logan is home to an annual prom and quinceañera expo, where young women can shop for dresses, caterers, and so much more. See how this event is impacting Hispanic families in Cache Valley. Kathy Leon, a model in the fashion show, say quinceañeras are to celebrate a girl becoming a young woman. They're not a kid anymore, they're a young adult. Victoria Guadalupe Nava-Olagwe, a future quinceañera, says she is most looking forward to dancing with her siblings and her father.
There's a new program at a local ski resort that doesn't need snow to bring people to the slopes. I'll show you how they focus on sound instead of snow. At Beaver Mountain, a run on the hill doesn't have to be the end of the experience, because on Sundays, the finish line can sound more like this.
Rather just skiing, and you can come and enjoy some music and some food while you're here.
Instead of heading home after hitting the slopes, skiers are trading in their ski poles for a spot by the stage.
This is just nice. Everybody's up here having a fun time.
Sounds on Sunday is new in 2026 after Beaver Mountain created a new space in their lodge.
It's a nice way for us to give back to the community.
Amy Hansen, who coordinates the concert, says the goal is simple: create a space for homegrown talent while giving visitors one more reason to stay.
We love live music here at Beaver Mountain, and the opportunity to have local artists here from Cache Valley be able to find a space for them to perform.
Performing at the resort comes with a built-in audience fresh off the lift. And for one musician,
And Chris is a 50-year veteran of the ski patrol.
Chris Mortensen knows his audience well after 50 years on the slopes.
I like doing music anywhere, but it's cool.
True.
It's cool
He
to
does.
do it here because I'll know a lot of people that'll come in today.
A fresh sound bringing in hundreds.
We had probably a few hundred people coming through.
For more than just skiing.
Give people the opportunity to do more than just ski, give them something fun to do.
Avonlea Woodward.
A new winter sport is making its way into Cache Valley, and it's a little different from what most people expect to see on the slopes. As River Rock shows us, ski mountaineering, or skimo, is testing young athletes both uphill and down.
This is Beaver Mountain, a ski resort up Logan Canyon. And even with the lifts running, one small group is doing something different. They're skiing uphill. Now, why would they do that? Well, it's for something called
skimo. It's skimo. Today we're training for skimo.
Short for ski mountaineering. Skimo is set to debut as an Olympic sport this year. And for many people, the first question is simple. What is it?
I would explain skimo as just like going up the mountain and then skiing down.
But it's more technical than it sounds. Athletes are timed while switching skins onto their skis, climbing uphill, ripping those skins off, and then racing back down. That switch is called a transition.
You can think of it as a combination of cross-country ski racing and alpine ski racing.
Here in Cache Valley, this is the Bear River Skimo team. It's the team's first year, and right now there's just 4 kids.
It's catching on with kids the same way that mountain bike racing is catching on. They're looking for a winter sport, a similar winter sport. It's an endurance sport, hard aerobic training, but also exciting.
The team's first competition, called the Crowbar, will be starting this Saturday.
Hopefully I place pretty high up.
Unlike most skimo competitions held on the groomers at resorts, this one will be happening in the back country. And while this is just the beginning for what they hope will be an Olympic team,
I think it's a really cool sport, and it's fun.
For now, they're just having fun. River Rock.
River Rock brought us that look at ski mountaineering in Cache Valley. With skimo now rising locally and gaining that Olympic attention, this small team is sure to grow.
The Band Film Festival may be known for its short films, but when it returned to Logan, it brought something more. I'm here with Dawson Mitchell, who covered the festival and its connection to USU's outdoor program. Dawson, what can you tell us about the festival?
Yes, thanks, Sarah. The BAM Film Festival brought more than just extreme sports films to Logan this year. It also brought money. This year marked the festival's 50th anniversary and 30 years in Logan.
Thanks, Dawson.
Thank you, Sarah.
The Utah State Biennial Faculty Exhibition highlights more than just artwork. I'm reporter Hannah Webb, and I'll be showing you how faculty inspire their students.
This is our biennial faculty exhibition. I think it's really great for the students to see that not only are we their teachers, but we're also active researchers and artists, and it's good for them to see that we are makers as well.
I looked up to my professors. Some helped me find different avenues of making art, so I think it's just helpful to see different aspects of how art can exist, and so it's just helpful to be part of their education.
This exhibition runs like every 2 years. I think this is an amazing opportunity for us to share our work with our students, and you know, it's a great time for them to give us a critique. So this is the first time that they stand in front of our work and they say, why did you do this way, right? The way we critique their work.
I think it's great to be able to see like work in a gallery setting, to be able to picture the possibilities of how I can create my own installations in the future. I think that's especially helpful.
This is a great thing for the campus community, but also the extended community to see what the faculty are making and doing and the type of research that they're involved in.
With streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music taking over, radio seems to have gone by the wayside. Chase Ekman shows us how students are fighting to keep it alive.
They say video killed the radio star.
I got 2 more songs for you guys.
But at Utah State University,
I'm James Mortensen, host of Morton's Corner on Aggie Radio 92.3 KBLU LP Logan.
they're keeping it alive.
Love this so much that I couldn't ever not do it.
Aggie Radio is a student-run radio station at USU that first started in 1958 as KVSC.
So forgive me, that's probably a little much to say on the radio.
The station has grown, even since 2025 when they had around 20 shows and 30 DJs.
Shade or something like that. No, not Shade. Shardy. Anyways.
This year, they have more than 60 shows and 80 DJs.
DJs come in and do shows where they play their favorite music or have guests on, do interviews, all types of fun stuff.
And these student DJs can play whatever music they'd like.
Everything from metal to hip hop to house to indie, folk, acoustic. We even have some shows that play religious music early in the morning.
A lot of people love her.
Controversial.
A lot of people love her.
Dixon Call started a radio show with his sister Lexi from a game played on a road trip.
We were going up to Wyoming for Thanksgiving, and we were like, let's just play songs and pretend like we're on a radio show.
That they later called Road Trip Radio.
I started like noticing vibes of certain songs.
Haley Wood has a show called Across the Dial.
Playing what I decided for the week and just yapping. Don't really remember what I say half the time.
Thank you for letting me know this is not one of your favorites, and I guess a very happy manner.
And Morton's Corner with James Mortensen is all about sharing his love for classic rock.
And the way in which they said that was with exclamation marks.
But he loves hearing the variation of the different shows.
And it's not just music, but it's people's personalities. I hear so many unique people when I'm walking through the TSC every day.
I ask these DJs what Aggie Radio does to fight against the death of radio.
We've got something for everything.
The focus is on the music, is on the people in the studio and the conversations they're having about the music.
Bringing in new perspectives.
There's real humans giving you recommendations and playing music that they think you'll like.
Letting their creative juices flow in a different media that we're not really used to in this day and age.
With hopes to keep the radio star alive.
I love that it's a sense of community for me and I'm sure a lot of other people.
Chase Ekman.
There's a group of Utah State students who put down their textbooks and replace them with saws and drills for a project more than 150 miles away. I'll show you what they were doing and who it was for. Drilling is a different sound than what you usually hear in a study session.
Got people that were around us, kind of like rounded them together, and it turned out to be a really good group.
And though these Utah State University students are building for a leadership class, their project means so much more.
Project that helps the community and makes an impact. We just really love serving the people, and we know what the cause is for, so that helps drive us to keep doing good things.
They are building bookshelves for the Adventure Center in Idaho Falls, a place for adults with disabilities to learn life skills and have fun.
I just wanted to give them a call and see if there's anything we could do for them to help them out.
Taking the leadership skills that they learned here in the classroom, the students posted on social media for you to donate, and they received over 1,000 donations.
Other group members, they went to libraries, grocery stores, the DIN stuff, and they were able to get a lot of donations that way.
We're hoping to just bring them a lot of joy and excitement.
They installed 4 bookshelves, stocking them full.
To really keep them entertained and excite them and give them something to do.
And then they met their new readers. Clapping, a different sound than a typical study session.
We hope it brightens their day, brightens their month, hopefully many months to come.
Cadence Mitchell.
A national sports communications specialist returned to Cache Valley to talk to students. Chase Ekman joins me right now to tell me about Brett Jukes.
Yes, Hannah, I had a very cool opportunity. Brett came to the school, spoke to some students, and talked about what he learned along the way. Jukes works as the Executive Vice President and Chief Brand and Communications Officer for multiple companies like NASCAR, the PGA Superstore, and the Atlanta Falcons, among other things, like being on the board for the College Football Hall of Fame. He talked to students about being a kid from Cache Valley that ended up moving to New York to start his communications career. My biggest takeaway from hearing him talk is his thought process of building your career. His biggest advice? Seek opportunity and experience rather than title and compensation. And that statement has really been sticking with me, especially as someone who wants to go into the sports business.
Thanks, Chase.
Utah State University celebrated their 48th annual powwow. I'll show you how this year's celebration was more than just music and tradition. The loud drums, the bright colors, a traditional dance.
A powwow is a cultural celebration for healing.
Each step carrying meaning.
All of the dances in there represent healing.
We all are here to pretty much just have a good time and dance and be able to express ourselves out there in the arena.
Sharing stories from their family history.
The story behind my dance is based off of medicine. It was based off of being able to heal.
It's more of like a prayer. I think of the people who can't dance, the ancestors that have passed on, my loved ones and friends who are in need of that support.
This is the 40th annual powwow at Utah State University with dance contest, the crowning of Miss Native American USU, traditional regalia.
My whole family is built into this beadwork.
And booths showcasing handmade jewelry. For Alicia Owen, this is her 47th time celebrating.
I mean, I am 47 years old. This is the 48th annual, so I've been coming to this powwow for almost as long as it's existed.
It's more than dance and music. It's tradition, identity, and community coming together. And here today, that culture is alive and thriving.
This jingle dress carries a bunch of medicine, and it helps you mentally, physically, and spiritually.
And for many, it goes even deeper.
It's basically my identity.
In Logan, I'm Avonlea Woodward.
With that, we conclude our showcase.
Thank you to all those who have helped us this semester.
Have an amazing summer, Aggies.
Bye!